The neon lights bled into the humid night air like wounded stars. Damen Vale pressed his temple against the cool glass of his penthouse window, watching the city pulse below. At 36, he commanded an empire worth billions, yet tonight the silence suffocated him. His phone buzzed with the usual parade of demands. Board meetings, acquisition deals, numbers that once electrified him now felt like shackles. "Sir, will you be needing the car tonight?" Marcus appeared in the doorway. "I'll drive myself." The Mercedes purred to life as Damen abandoned his untouched dinner and unsigned contracts. He let instinct guide him away from the sterile perfection of the business district into the industrial quarter where warehouses had been reborn as underground venues. The lucid vault emerged from darkness like a secret. Graffiti crawled up brick walls. The bouncer barely glanced at Damen's expensive suit before waving him inside. The air hit him like a physical force, thick with smoke and sweat, alive with electronic beats that seemed to pulse from the walls themselves. This wasn't his world of champagne receptions and polished smiles. Then the lights dimmed. She appeared on a small stage wrapped in LED strips. Silver hair cascaded down her back, catching the strobes like liquid starlight. She didn't dance to the music so much as command it. Her body spoke a language older than words. Damen had attended countless performances, funded artists, sat through galas where culture was currency. None of it had prepared him for this. She moved with purpose that transcended technique. The LED strips responded to her like living things, pulsing in harmony with movements that seemed to bend light itself. Her emerald eyes swept the room and locked with his. The connection lasted only seconds, but it left him feeling exposed, as if she'd seen through the armor of his success to something raw and unguarded beneath. When the music ended, she bowed with fluid grace. Silver hair veiled her face like a curtain of moonbeams. The room erupted in applause, but Damen remained motionless, studying her with the focus he usually reserved for hostile takeovers. She stepped off the stage, thick-soled boots echoing against weathered wood floors. Everything about her radiated controlled chaos. The vintage leather jacket. The way she moved through the crowd like water finding its own level. "Hey, silver hair. Dance for us again." 3 men blocked her path to the bar, their words slurred with alcohol. The largest one reached for her arm. Damen saw her entire body coil like a spring. "Move," she said. Her voice was low and sharp as broken glass. They didn't move. Instead, the leader snatched the backpack from her shoulder. Her jaw tightened. Damen found himself moving before the thought fully formed. "You should stop." His voice cut through the ambient noise like a blade through silk. The 3 men turned. Their alcohol-fueled bravado wavered under the weight of his stare. Damen didn't need to raise his voice or his fists. Power was a language he spoke fluently. They dropped the backpack and melted into the crowd. The silver-haired dancer studied him with the intensity of someone accustomed to reading threats and shadows. "I didn't need your help," she said, though curiosity flickered beneath the defensive edge. "Call it boredom." She tilted her head, silver hair catching the light. "So what now? A thank you or another lecture about safety? A drink, to settle the debt of my interference." She considered this, then nodded toward the bar. "1 drink." As they walked, Damen caught fragments of her scent beneath the club's atmosphere. Something clean and wild, like rain on summer concrete. She ordered 2 shots of tequila without asking his preference. "You don't seem like someone who frequents places like this," she observed, salt crystals glittering on the back of her hand before she licked them away. "And you don't seem like someone who buys drinks from strangers in expensive suits." Her laugh was sharp, musical. "I'd rather dance in lightning storms than live in golden cages." "Vale Media Group, right? I know who you are, Damen Vale." The sound of his name on her lips sent an unexpected shock through his system. "Then you know I could give you anything you wanted." "I don't want your world." She downed her shot without flinching. "I want freedom. Freedom is overrated. It's just another word for having no one to depend on." "Better than having everyone depend on you." Her emerald eyes found his. "Besides, cages are still cages, even when they're made of gold." The conversation continued as the club emptied around them. She wielded honesty like a weapon, unlike anyone in his carefully curated social circle. When the last song ended and the lights came up harsh and unforgiving, rain had begun to fall in sheets outside. "I could take you home," Damen offered. She gathered her backpack, checking the equipment inside with practiced efficiency. I don't have a home. But if you're not afraid of getting wet, come with me. They ran through narrow alleys as rain turned the city into an impressionist painting. She led him to an old warehouse, its industrial bones softened by years of creative occupation. Inside, she had transformed the space into something between an artist's studio and a technological laboratory. LED strips created geometric patterns across the walls. Stage equipment occupied corners like sleeping giants. A small bed sat beneath the flickering constellation of her lights. "This is where I stay when I'm in this city," she said, switching on a strip that made her skin glow like porcelain. "Not exactly the penthouse suite you're used to." Damen stepped closer, his fingers brushing one of the light strips, but his eyes never left her face. "You're unlike anyone I've ever met." She smiled, and for the first time that night, it reached her eyes. "So are you, but don't think I'm staying." The words were barely out of her mouth before he pulled her against him. His lips crashed onto hers with desperate hunger. She responded instantly, her body melting into his, as if they had been orbiting each other for years instead of hours. The kiss deepened, consuming, as if they were the only two people in a world about to end. Her jacket hit the floor, followed by his shirt. They moved together beneath the shifting lights like dancers in their own private performance. But when he felt her hesitation, a subtle tremor in her hands as they explored his chest, the careful way she moved beneath him, realization struck like lightning. "You've never done this before," he whispered against her throat. She stiffened. Does it matter? It mattered more than anything had mattered in years. The knowledge that she was choosing him, trusting him with something she'd never given anyone else, awakened something primal and protective in his chest. "It matters," he said, his voice rough with barely controlled need. "It matters everything." And as they moved together beneath the electric constellation she'd created, as she gasped his name like a prayer and dug her fingers into his shoulders like anchors, Damen Vale felt something crack open inside him that he'd thought was permanently sealed shut. When dawn crept through the dusty windows, painting everything in shades of gold and amber, he reached for her. The bed was empty. She was gone. Damen stared at the empty warehouse for 20 minutes, his expensive suit wrinkled beyond salvation, searching for any trace that she had existed beyond the lingering scent of rain and wild freedom on his skin. The LED strips hung dark and lifeless. No longer pulsing with the electricity of her presence, she hadn't even left her name. He drove back to his penthouse in silence, his knuckles white against the steering wheel. The city looked different in daylight, mundane and predictable, stripped of the magic that had transformed it just hours before. In his bathroom mirror, he found marks on his shoulders where her fingers had gripped him, small proof that the night hadn't been some elaborate hallucination. "Sir, your 9/0 with the Soul investors has been moved to 10:30. His assistant, Alina, announced as he entered his office 3 hours later. Her tone was carefully neutral despite his disheveled appearance. "Cancel it," Damen said, loosening his tie. "Cancel everything until noon." Alina's pen froze above her tablet. In 7 years of working for him, she'd never heard those words. "Find her," he said. "Sir? Silver hair. Performs at underground clubs. Uses LED equipment in her act." "Find her!" Alina's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded. "I'll start immediately." 3 days passed like torture. Damen threw resources at the search that would have made shareholders revolt. Private investigators, social media analysts, club owners on his payroll, nothing. She was a ghost. No social media presence. No registered business. No trail. On the 4th night, he returned to the lucid vault. The bouncer recognized him with a nod. "The dancer," Damen said, sliding $200 bills across the weathered table. "Silver hair. Lady lights. When does she perform next?" The bouncer pocketed the money without looking at it. "She's gone, man. Travels constantly. Never stays in one city more than a week. Where? She doesn't tell anyone. That's kind of her thing." Damen's jaw clenched. "If she comes back, you call me." He handed the bouncer a card with his private number. The bouncer studied the card, recognition flickering across his face. "You're that Vale guy. The billionaire?" "Yes." "She won't like that you're looking for her. She runs from people like you." Then she shouldn't have made me feel alive for the first time in a decade. The words hung in the smoky air between them. The bouncer's expression shifted to something like understanding. I'll call. But don't expect anything. 2 weeks became 3. 3 became a month. Damen threw himself into work with renewed intensity, but everything felt hollow. Board meetings were theater. Acquisition deals were chess games where all the pieces looked the same. At night, he drove through the city, searching underground venues and artist collectives, always hunting for that flash of silver hair. Then, on a rain-soaked Tuesday in September, his phone rang. Unknown number. Vale. She's here. The bouncer's voice was low, but you didn't hear it from me. Damen was in his car before the call ended. The lucid vault was packed when he arrived. Bodies pressed together in the darkness, the air thick with anticipation. Then the lights dimmed and she appeared, the same silver hair, the same emerald eyes. But something was different. There was a fragility to her movements that hadn't been there before, a guardedness. She danced like someone trying to outrun demons. When the performance ended, Damen moved through the crowd with singular purpose. She was heading for the back exit, backpack slung over her shoulder. Running again? She froze, turned slowly. When her eyes met his, something flashed across her. Face, shock, fear, and something else he couldn't name. You shouldn't be here, she said. You left? That was the point. Without even your name. Her jaw tightened. Luna, my name is Luna. Luna. He tasted the word. Why did you leave? Because staying would have been a mistake. For who? For both of us. She moved toward the exit, but he blocked her path. One night wasn't enough. It has to be. Why? Because I'm not who you think I am. Then tell me who you are. Luna's eyes searched his face, and he saw the war raging behind them. Fear battling desire. Logic fighting instinct. I can't, she whispered. Can't or won't. Both. The rain had started again outside. Thunder rolled through the city like a warning. Come with me, Damen said. Just for tonight. Let me understand. You don't want to understand. You want to possess. The words struck him like a physical blow because they held truth. Maybe, he admitted. But I also want to know why you've been haunting me for 6 weeks. Why I can't focus on anything without seeing your face. Why everything in my life feels like background noise compared to 4 hours with you. Luna's breath caught. Her defenses cracked just enough for him to see the vulnerability beneath. One night, she said finally. But then you let me go. No searching. No investigators. No trying to find me again. I can't promise that. Then we have nothing to say to each other. She tried to push past him, but he caught her wrist. The touch sent electricity racing up his arm. Fine, he said. One night. Then I let you go. The lie tasted bitter on his tongue, but he told it anyway. They went to his penthouse this time. The space felt too large, too sterile compared to her warehouse sanctuary. But when he poured wine and she kicked off her boots and curled up on his leather couch, something in the universe shifted into place. Why do you run? He asked. Why do you chase? Because you made me feel something. Feeling isn't always good. It's better than being numb. Luna studied him over the rim of her wine glass. You think you're numb, but you're not. You're buried. There's a difference. And you? What are you? Careful. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. They talked until the city lights blurred into dawn. About art and ambition. About the weight of expectations and the terror of freedom. Luna spoke in riddles and metaphors, never revealing anything concrete. But Damen heard what she didn't say in the spaces between her words. When she finally kissed him, it was different from the first time. Slower, more deliberate, as if she was memorizing him. They made love on the floor of his living room as sunrise painted the windows gold. And this time, when he held her afterward, skin against skin, heartbeat synchronized with heartbeat, she whispered something against his chest. I'm sorry. For what? For what's coming. Before he could ask what she meant, his phone rang. Alina's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer it, Luna said, tension flooding her body. But Damen was already reaching for the phone. Old habits. Sir, we have a situation. It's about the European acquisition. Someone leaked the details to the press. The stock is crashing, the words barely registered. Damen was watching Luna's face drain of color. I have to go, she said, already pulling on her clothes. Luna, wait. You promised. One night. Then you let me go. Tell me what you're afraid of. She paused at the door, silver hair wild around her shoulders. When she looked back, her eyes held a grief so profound it stole his breath. I'm afraid, she said, that when you find out the truth, you'll wish we'd never met. Then she was gone. And this time, Damen knew with absolute certainty that she was running from something far more dangerous than him. The stock recovered within 48 hours. But Damen couldn't shake Luna's final words, the grief in her eyes, the certainty that something was fundamentally wrong. He broke his promise within 3 days. Find everything, he told his head of security, a former intelligence officer named Chen. I don't care what it costs. Chen returned a week later with a thin folder. Too thin. She's a ghost, Chen said. No birth certificate. No social security number. No legal identity before 5 years ago. Everyone has a past. Not her. It's like she was born fully formed at 23. Damen's instincts, honed by years of hostile negotiations, screamed that something was deeply wrong. What about before? Any connections? Family? Chen hesitated. There's one thing. A sealed juvenile record. I couldn't access it legally, but I found a contact who could. And you're not going to like it. Chen slid a photograph across the desk. A girl, maybe 16, with silver hair and hollow eyes, standing next to a man in an expensive suit. Damen's blood turned to ice. The man was Victor Kraus, his former business partner. The man who had betrayed him 7 years ago, stealing proprietary technology and nearly destroying Vale Media Group. The man Damen had spent 2 years legally destroying in return. Who was she to him? Damen's voice was barely above a whisper. His daughter, born Luna Kraus. She disappeared from all records 5 years ago, right after you won the lawsuit that bankrupted her father. The room tilted. Damen gripped the edge of his desk. Where is Victor Kraus now? Dead. Suicide. 3 years ago. The words landed like bullets. Luna's words echoed in his memory. When you find out the truth, you'll wish we'd never met. Does she know who I am? Damen asked. Who I was to her father. She has to. The lawsuit was public. Your face was everywhere. Damen's mind raced through every conversation, every touch, every moment. Had it all been a lie? An elaborate revenge plot? But revenge for what? She'd given him nothing. Taken nothing. Unless the European acquisition leak, he said suddenly. When did it happen? The morning after she was at your penthouse. Damen's stomach dropped. Get me everything on that leak? Source, timing, method, Chen's expression darkened. I already looked into it. The leak came from your personal server. Someone accessed it remotely. When? Between 4 and 6 a.m. When you were with her. The betrayal cut deeper than any business loss. Deeper than Victor's original theft. Because he'd let her in. He'd felt something real, or had he? Find her, Damen said, his voice cold as winter. Now. Chen found her in 48 hours. A loft in the warehouse district. The same one where they'd first made love. Damen went alone. The door was unlocked. Inside, LED strips created geometric patterns across the walls, just like before. But Luna stood in the center of the room, arms wrapped around herself, as if holding the pieces together. She'd been expecting him. You know, she said without turning around, that you're Victor Kraus's daughter? That you used me? Yes. Then you also know he's dead. Suicide. 3 years ago, Luna finally turned. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but her jaw was set with determination. He didn't commit suicide. The words hung between them like a grenade. What? My father didn't kill himself. He was murdered. Damen's anger wavered. By who? By the same people who helped you destroy him. I didn't destroy him. He stole from me. He didn't steal anything. Luna's voice cracked. He developed that technology. It was his. But you had better lawyers, more money, more power. You crushed him because you could. That's not what happened. Isn't it? She stepped closer. You're Damen Vale. You don't lose. Not in business. Not in court. Not ever. And my father was just collateral damage. He signed contracts. He violated them. He was protecting his work from being weaponized. The word landed like a punch. Damen's technology, the AI algorithms Victor had helped develop, had been sold to defense contractors. He'd always told himself it was business, progress, necessary. So what was this? He asked, gesturing between them. Revenge? Get close to me, steal information, destroy me like I destroyed him? At first, Luna admitted, and the honesty felt like a knife. At first I wanted you to feel what he felt. The helplessness, the loss. I wanted to take something from you that mattered. The European acquisition. I leaked it. Yes. I used your trust against you. And the rest? The dancing? The conversation? He couldn't finish. That part wasn't supposed to happen. Her voice broke. I wasn't supposed to feel anything. It was supposed to be simple. Cold. But then you looked at me like I mattered. Like I was more than a ghost dancing in the dark. And I... Don't! Damen's hands clenched into fists. Don't tell me it was real. Not when everything was a lie. Not everything. Which parts? How do I know what was Luna and what was the daughter seeking revenge? You don't, she whispered. Maybe I don't either anymore. The raw honesty in her voice stopped him. She looked fragile in a way he'd never seen before. Stripped of her armor, did you kill him? Luna asked suddenly. My father? No. But you know who did. It wasn't a question. Damen's silence was answer enough. Tell me, she demanded. I don't know for certain. Tell me what you suspect. Damen exhaled slowly. There were investors. Silent partners in the lawsuit. People who wanted Victor's technology buried because it threatened their interests. After the verdict, they approached me about buying the patents. I refused. Who were they? Corporate. Government. The kind of people who don't leave paper trails. Names. Luna. Names. Her voice echoed off the walls. Meridian Holdings. And someone inside the DOD. I don't know who. Luna's face went white. Meridian. They visited my father a week before he died. He told me they offered him money to disappear. To never speak about the technology again. What did he say? He told them to go to hell. Her voice broke. 3 days later, he was found hanging in his study. The police called it suicide. Case closed. Damen felt the foundations of his understanding crack. Why didn't you go to the police? I tried. They said I was a grief-stricken daughter looking for someone to blame. That my father was depressed, financially ruined. That suicide made sense. Tears streamed down her face. But I knew. I knew he wouldn't leave me. Not like that. So you came after me instead. You were the only name I knew. The only person I could hurt. She wiped her eyes roughly. But now I understand. You didn't kill him. You just made him vulnerable enough for someone else to finish the job. The words were meant to wound, and they did. What do you want from me? Damen asked. Nothing. I don't want anything from you. That's not true. You want justice. So do I now. Luna's eyes widened. What? If Meridian killed your father to bury the technology, there's still a threat. To you, to me, to anyone who knows the truth. Damen stepped closer. We were both pawns in someone else's game. The question is, do we keep playing or do we flip the board? You want to go after them? I want the truth, and I want them to pay for what they did. To your father. To both of us. Luna studied him, searching for lies, for manipulation. Why would you help me? Because despite everything, despite the betrayal and the lies, I still... He stopped himself. Because it's the right thing to do. It wasn't the whole truth, but it was all he could offer. Luna was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. But this doesn't change what happened between us. It doesn't erase the damage. I know. And when this is over, we go our separate ways. Agreed. The lie tasted familiar on his tongue. Luna moved to a laptop hidden under a sheet. I've been tracking Meridian for 2 years. I have files, communications, evidence they've been systematically eliminating anyone connected to the original technology. How many? 7 people. All ruled accidents or suicides. Damen's blood ran cold. Show me everything. As Luna opened her files, spreading papers and photographs across the floor, Damen realized they'd crossed a line. This was no longer about betrayal or revenge, or even justice. This was survival. And somewhere in the darkness, someone was watching. They worked through the night in Luna's warehouse loft. Papers covered every surface. Photographs of dead scientists, email chains with encrypted signatures, financial records that led nowhere and everywhere at once. Damen had built an empire on reading patterns. And the pattern here was clear. Meridian Holdings wasn't just a shell company. It was a network. A hydra with tentacles reaching into defense contractors, intelligence agencies, and corporate boardrooms. "They're not hiding," Luna said, tracing connections on a makeshift map. "They're in plain sight. That's what makes them untouchable." "Nothing is untouchable." "You sound very confident for someone who didn't know they existed a week ago." "I know power. And power always has a weak point." Luna looked at him across the scattered evidence. "Is that what I was?" "Your weak point?" The question hung between them. "Heavy with implications, yes," Damen admitted. "You got past every defense I've spent years building. In one night, and now? Now I don't know what you are." "Neither do I." The honesty felt like neutral ground. Neither forgiveness nor condemnation. Just two damaged people trying to navigate wreckage. Damen's phone buzzed. "Chen, talk to me." "Sir, I found something. Marcus Tate. He was listed as a consultant for Meridian Holdings from 2018 to 2020. Before that, he worked for you." Damen's blood turned to ice. "Who is Marcus Tate?" "Your driver, Marcus." The room spun. Marcus, the man who'd worked for him for 8 years. Who knew his schedule, his habits, his security protocols? Where is he now? "He called in sick this morning. Home address is abandoned. Phone's disconnected." Luna was watching him. "What is it?" "My driver. He works for Meridian, which means they know everything. Where you are. Who you been meeting." Her face paled. "They know about me. We need to move. Now." But before Damen could stand, the lights went out. Every LED strip, every lamp, plunging the warehouse into darkness. "That's not the breaker," Luna whispered. Glass shattered upstairs. Then footsteps. Multiple sets. Heavy boots on concrete. Damen grabbed Luna's hand. "Is there another way out?" "The loading dock. Through the back." They moved through the darkness, Luna navigating by memory. Behind them, flashlight beams cut through the black like searching fingers. "Find them," a voice commanded. Cold. Professional. "The hard drives, too. Everything." They reached the loading dock. Luna punched in a code on a rusted panel. The door groaned open. The alley beyond was empty. Rain had started falling, turning the pavement slick and reflective. "My car is 3 blocks east," Damen said. They ran. Luna's boots splashed through puddles. Damen's heart hammered against his ribs. Behind them, shouts echoed off brick walls. They reached the Mercedes. Damen's hands shook as he started the engine. "Where are we going?" Luna asked. "Somewhere they won't look." He drove them to the marina, to the 40-foot yacht he'd bought on impulse 2 years ago and barely used. The Revenant. They boarded in darkness. Damen fired up the engines while Luna secured the lines. Within minutes, they were cutting through black water, the city lights receding behind them. Luna collapsed onto the deck bench, rain-soaked and shaking. "They're going to kill us." "Not if we move first." "With what?" "They have resources. Power. We have a pile of papers that prove nothing." "We have you." Luna looked up. "What?" "You're Victor Krause's daughter. The heir to the original patents. If we can prove Meridian killed your father to suppress the technology, we can expose them. That's suicide. It's leverage. The technology is worth billions. If we threaten to go public, to release your father's research to competitors, Meridian will have to negotiate. Or kill us faster. Then we make sure the information is already out there. Dead man's switch. If anything happens to us, it all goes public automatically." Luna shook her head. "You're talking about extortion. I'm talking about survival. By becoming what they are. By using their own weapons against them." Luna stood, water dripping from her silver hair. "I didn't spend 3 years hunting my father's killers just to become them." "Then what do you want?" "Justice. There is no justice here. Just power and who wields it better. I want the truth to matter. The truth doesn't matter. It never has. What matters is who controls the narrative." Luna's eyes flashed with anger. "Is that what you tell yourself? That morality is just a story we tell? That the only thing that counts is winning? It's kept me alive this long. It's kept you empty." The words struck deeper than she could know. Maybe, Damen admitted. But empty and alive beats principled and dead. Not to me. They stared at each other across the deck. The yacht rocked gently on dark water. Rain fell like static. Damen's phone buzzed. "Unknown number," he answered on speaker. "Mr. Vale." The voice was smooth, cultured, utterly devoid of warmth. "My name is Richard Castellan. I represent Meridian Holdings. I know who you are. Then you know we need to talk. Face to face. Just you and me. So you can kill me? If I wanted you dead, Mr. Vale, you would be. This is an opportunity. For both of us. I'm listening. You have something I need. Information. Files. And a very talented young woman who's been quite the thorn in our side." A pause. "Give me what I want, and I'll make you richer than you've ever imagined. Fight me, and I'll destroy everything you've built. Your company, your reputation, your life. And Luna? She's irrelevant. Once we have the files, she can disappear. We don't care where." Damen looked at Luna. Her face was unreadable. "Where?" he asked. "The Apex building, penthouse, tomorrow at noon. Come alone." "How do I know you won't kill me the moment I arrive?" "Because you're going to bring insurance. A live stream, recording everything. If I harm you, it goes public immediately." Castellan's voice held a smile. "See? We can be reasonable." The line went dead. Luna was staring at him. "You're not seriously considering this. He's offering us a way out. He's offering you a way out. What about me?" "You heard him. You can disappear. With what? No files? No evidence? While you get rich and pretend none of this happened?" "Luna, no." She stepped back. "I've watched you, Damen. I've seen how you operate. You think everything is transactional. Everything can be bought or sold or negotiated. But some things can't. Like my father's life. Like the truth. The truth won't bring him back. But it will mean his death mattered." Damen ran his hands through his wet hair. "If we go to war with Meridian, we lose. They have unlimited resources, government protection. We have nothing. We have each other." The words stopped him cold. Because they were both true and impossible. They'd been enemies. Then reluctant allies. Now something undefined and dangerous. "You don't even trust me," Damen said. "I don't. But I understand you. And right now, understanding is more useful than trust. That's not enough to build a plan on. Then we improvise." Damen studied her, silver hair plastered to her face, emerald eyes fierce with determination. She was asking him to risk everything on principle, on faith. Everything he'd spent his life rejecting. "If we do this," he said slowly, "if we go into that meeting, we need leverage. Real leverage. Not just recordings. Like what? The technology. Your father's original research. If we have that, we have something Meridian can't afford to lose." Luna hesitated. "I might know where it is." "Might?" "My father had a safety deposit box. He gave me the key before he died. Said to only open it if something happened to him." "And you never did?" "I was afraid. Afraid of what I'd find. Or wouldn't find. Where is it?" "Continental Bank, downtown." Damen checked his watch. 3:47 a.m. They open at 9. We go in as soon as the doors open. Get the files. Then we meet Castellan with actual leverage. And if the files aren't there, then we improvise. Luna almost smiled. "You're not very good at improvising." "I'm learning." They went below deck, changing into dry clothes from the yacht's emergency supply. The cabin felt too small, too intimate, the air between them charged with unresolved tension. "Thank you," Luna said quietly. "For what?" "For not taking Castellan's offer immediately. For considering my father might matter more than a payday." "Don't thank me yet. I'm still considering it, I know. But the fact that you're wrestling with it, that you're not just defaulting to profit, that's something. That's called being weak." "No." Luna turned to face him. "That's called being human." Their eyes met. And for a moment the betrayals and lies fell away, leaving only two people who'd found each other in darkness and somehow, impossibly, lit something neither could fully extinguish. Damen reached for her. Luna stepped into his arms. The kiss was different this time. Not desperate or strategic, but honest. Raw. Two people holding on to each other before walking into fire. When they broke apart, Luna rested her forehead against his. "Whatever happens tomorrow," she whispered, "I need you to know. What I felt with you, that was real, even when I was lying, even when I hated myself for it. That part was always real. Luna, don't say anything. Just hold me. For tonight. Tomorrow we go to war. But tonight, can we just be two people who found something impossible?" So he held her, on a yacht in dark water, while the city sparkled in the distance, like a cage of stars, and neither of them said what they both knew, that one of them might not survive. Tomorrow. Continental Bank opened at precisely 9 a.m. Damen and Luna were the first through the doors. The safety deposit box was smaller than expected. Inside, a single flash drive and a handwritten letter. Luna's hands shook as she unfolded the paper. Her father's handwriting. "My beautiful Luna, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry for leaving you alone. I'm sorry for not being stronger. But know this, the technology they want is more than code. It's a key to everything. Control, surveillance, power beyond imagination. I couldn't let them have it, even if it cost me everything. The drive contains the master algorithm, the only working copy. Whoever holds this controls the future. Don't let it be them. Don't let my death be meaningless. Be brave. Be fierce. Be free. I love you always. Dad." Luna's tears fell onto the paper, smudging the ink. Damen took the flash drive. "This is it. This is our leverage. It's more than leverage. It's exactly what Castellan wants. Which means we have power. Or a target on our backs." They left the bank and headed to the Apex building, a steel and glass monolith that pierced the skyline like a blade. The penthouse elevator required a special key. Security was everywhere. "Remember," Damen said as they ascended, "we record everything. The stream goes live the moment we step inside. If anything happens to us, the world sees it." Luna adjusted the small camera hidden in her jacket. "Ready?" The elevator doors opened onto a sprawling penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. Minimalist furniture, sterile perfection. Richard Castellan stood by the windows. Mid-50s, silver hair, eyes like chips of ice. Everything about him screamed control. "Mr. Vale, Miss Krause, please sit." They remained standing. Castellan smiled, defiant to the end. "I respect that. Your father had the same quality, Miss Krause. It's what made him so difficult to manage." "You killed him," Luna said. "I facilitated his transition to irrelevance. What happened after was his choice. Murder isn't a choice. Everything is a choice. Your father chose to refuse our offer, chose to threaten exposure, chose to prioritize principle over survival." Castellan turned to Damen. "You're smarter than he was, aren't you, Mr. Vale? You understand how the world actually works. I understand you want something I have." "The algorithm?" "Yes. But more than that, I want your cooperation, your silence, and your considerable resources. In exchange for what? A seat at the table. Real power, not the illusion of it you've been chasing through corporate acquisitions. I'm talking about influence over governments, markets, the future itself." Damen felt the pull of it, the seduction of genuine power. Everything he'd built had been in service of this moment. This offer. Luna's hand found his. A subtle anchor. "And if I refuse?" Damen asked. "Then you become a liability, and liabilities are eliminated. You, her, everyone you care about. We're very thorough. You can't kill everyone. We don't have to. Just enough to send a message." Castellan moved closer. "You're a smart man, Vale. You've built something impressive, but it's a house of cards compared to what I'm offering. Join us, and you become untouchable. Refuse, and you become a cautionary tale." Damen looked at Luna. Her emerald eyes held a question. Not what he would do, but who he would be. "Show me," Damen said. "Show me proof of what you're offering. Concrete evidence of this power you claim." Castellan's smile widened. He gestured to a laptop on the glass table. "Pull up any stock, any market, any political situation." Damen sat, typed, watched as Castellan made a phone call. Within 60 seconds, the stock he'd chosen jumped 12%. One call. Absolute control. "Impressive," Damen admitted. "It's not magic. It's infrastructure. We've spent decades building networks, relationships, control points. This is what real power looks like. And all I have to do is give you the algorithm and look the other way while you reshape the world." Precisely. Damen stood, walked to the windows. The city sprawled below. Millions of people who would never know that their lives were being orchestrated from rooms like this. There's just one problem, he said. Which is? I don't believe you. Castellan's smile faded. Excuse me? If you really had absolute power, you wouldn't need the algorithm. You wouldn't need me. You wouldn't be negotiating. You'd just take what you want. We prefer cooperation. No, you're desperate. Because without this algorithm, your control has limits. And limits mean vulnerability. Damen turned. That's why you killed Victor Kraus. Not because he threatened you, but because he proved you weren't as untouchable as you claimed. Castellan's face hardened. Careful, Mr. Vale. Or what? You'll kill us on a live stream? The one that's been broadcasting this entire conversation? Understanding flashed across Castellan's face. He looked at Luna's jacket. At the tiny camera lens. You're bluffing. Try me, Damen said. For 3 seconds, no one moved. Then Castellan pulled a gun from his jacket, aimed it directly at Luna. Give me the drive, now, or I put a bullet in her head and deal with the consequences. Then you get nothing, Damen said calmly. The drive is encrypted, biometrically locked to both of us. You kill either one, it becomes worthless. Another bluff, but a good one. Castellan's gun hand wavered. What do you want? He asked. Justice. For Victor Kraus. For the 7 scientists you murdered. For every person you've manipulated and destroyed. Justice doesn't exist. Then revenge. Call it what you want, but you're going to confess. Everything. On camera. And then you're going to dismantle Meridian Holdings piece by piece. You're insane. Probably. But I'm also the only person standing between you and exposure. So you have a choice. Confess and face human justice, or refuse and face something worse. There's nothing worse. Luna stepped forward. There is. Your own organization. You think they'll forgive you for letting this recording go public? For exposing them? They'll tear you apart to protect themselves. The color drained from Castellan's face, because she was right. The moment this went public, Meridian would sacrifice him to survive. You've already lost, Damen said. The only question is how you lose. With dignity, or screaming. Castellan lowered the gun, sat heavily in a chair. For the first time, he looked old, tired. What do you want me to say? The truth. All of it, so Castellan talked. For 47 minutes, he confessed to murders, manipulations, corporate espionage, political corruption. Luna's camera captured every word, every name, every crime. When he finished, he looked at Damen. What now? Now you disappear. Fake your death. Leave the country, whatever. But you never surface again. And if I refuse, then I send this recording to every news outlet in the world. And to your superiors at Meridian. Let them decide what to do with you, Castellan nodded slowly. You would have made a good partner, Vale. You think like one of us. No, Damen said. I think like someone who's tired of watching people like you destroy lives for profit. They left Castellan sitting in his penthouse. Broken, defeated, human. Outside, the morning sun felt impossibly bright. We did it, Luna whispered. We actually did it. Not yet. We need to release the recording. Make sure it goes everywhere. And the algorithm? Damen pulled the flash drive from his pocket, walked to a drainage grate. Dropped it. What are you doing? Luna grabbed his arm. Some power shouldn't exist. Your father knew that. He died protecting that truth. But we could have used it, changed things, or become exactly what we just defeated. The only way to win was to destroy the game. Luna stared at the grate, then laughed. A sound of pure, delirious relief. You're absolutely insane. Probably. They stood on the street corner as the city moved around them. 2 people who'd found each other through lies and betrayal and somehow arrived at something resembling truth. What now? Luna asked. Now we release the recording. Watch Meridian implode. Try to stay alive while their organization tears itself apart. That's not a plan. It's the best I've got. Luna turned to face him. Silver hair catching the light. Emerald eyes serious. I need to know something. When Castellan offered you everything, when he showed you that power, part of you wanted it. I saw it in your eyes. Yes, Damen admitted. Part of me wanted it very badly. What changed? You. Looking at me like I was capable of being something better than what I've been. Like I mattered beyond my bank account and my company. He touched her face gently. I've spent my whole life chasing power because I thought it would fill something empty inside. But the only time I've felt whole was with you, even when you were lying to me, even when I hated you for it. You made me feel human again. I'm still angry with you for what you did to my father. I know, and I don't forgive you. I know that too. But I also can't imagine doing any of this without you. Then don't. Luna searched his face. What are you saying? I'm saying stay. Not because I can give you things or protect you or offer you some fairy tale, but because we're both broken in ways that somehow fit together. And maybe that's enough. It's not enough. Then what is? This. Luna kissed him. Soft. Deliberate. A promise of possibility rather than certainty. When they broke apart, she rested her forehead against his. We stay together, she said. But as equals. Partners. No secrets. No games. Just two people trying to figure out how to be decent in an indecent world. I can work with that. And when I want to run, because I will want to run, you let me. But then you come find me. Not because you own me or need me, but because you choose me. Every single time? Deal. They released the recording 2 hours later. From an internet cafe in Chinatown. Anonymous. Untraceable. Within 24 hours, Meridian Holdings was in free fall. Arrests. Congressional hearings. Corporate implosions. The kind of public unraveling that destroyed empires. Damen and Luna watched it unfold from a small hotel room in Brooklyn. No luxury, no cameras, just two people eating takeout on a questionable mattress. Your company's stock is tanking, Luna observed, watching the news. Good. Maybe it'll teach my board to stop trusting AI to make ethical decisions. You're not upset? I'm terrified, but also relieved. Turns out I was tired of being Damen Vale, corporate titan. Maybe I'll try being just Damen for a while. And what does just Damen do? I don't know. Maybe I learn to dance, Luna laughed. You're serious, very. You could teach me. We could travel, live out of warehouses, dance in the dark, be gloriously, stupidly free. That's not a life. It's more of a life than I've been living. Luna studied him, seeing past the expensive suit and the practiced confidence to something raw and honest beneath. Okay, she said finally. Okay? Okay, we'll try. But the moment you turn back into corporate robot Damen, I'm gone. Fair. They left the hotel a week later. No plan, no destination. Just a Mercedes pointed toward somewhere neither of them had been. The city fell away behind them. Neon lights giving way to open highway. Luna put her feet on the dashboard. Silver hair whipping in the wind from the open window. Where are we going? She asked. No idea. You hate not having a plan. I'm learning to improvise. How's that working out? Damen looked at her. At the woman who'd destroyed him and saved him in equal measure, who'd taught him that power meant nothing without purpose, that winning was meaningless if you lost yourself in the process. Better than anything I ever planned, he said. Luna smiled, reached across the console to take his hand. And as the sun set ahead of them, painting the sky in shades of gold and fire, two broken people drove toward an uncertain future. Together, by choice. Free. The end.